Hello, my most amazing art students. Today we're going to continue work on our illuminated letters. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to need you guys to do before you start coloring is to outline your entire design in Sharpie. So I'm going to do the center section and color it with you and show you how to blend colors. And then you guys can let your imaginations run wild with how you want to color the rest of your design. Well, how you want to color your whole design. Notice how I'm turning my paper around instead of trying to do the whole thing in one direction. It just helps with control over your drawing implement when you do that. And that way you get the best looking lines the more you control that. So remember, we're doing a sunflower for my daughter, and we had sketched it in with pencil, finished it off. Now we're just tracing all of those lines. And this is the time you can change whatever you might not completely love on your design. And you can take a straight edge and trace this box around here. I'm pretty stable-handed, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna grab my straight edge and trace the longer ones with my straight edge. Notice that when you use a straight edge, you get a finer line than if you had just used the side of the marker. And then I had done this cloud shape. I'm not loving how I drew it, so I'm just going to do my own lines. The only other thing I think I want to do here, and maybe I'll grab my pencil first and do a design within this letter. Maybe it comes all the way here, and it's like a banner. There's lots of different ways you can finish out your letters. Yeah, maybe I'll do the same thing on all the sides. There we go. Just a little added detail. And then maybe we'll just do like 3, and they get smaller and smaller, just to give it some interest. So now I'm going to trace over those using the tip of my marker. It's really hard to work around a camera that's right in your face when you're trying to draw details. I got this, you guys. I'm a professional. Do try this at home. So, I know your guys' letters are going to be amazing. They're so, the illuminated manuscripts that are ancient, the hours that they spent making those pages. They didn't have TV back then, so had to find a way to spend their time. There we go. Look at how detailed that is now. So I'm just going to work on this middle panel. Just going to work on this middle panel right now, and I'm going to show you coloring this. I do have some lines that I need to erase. I need to find my eraser. There it is. So on this cloud, because I didn't really follow the lines on that one very well. So And then some pencil lines just some sketchy lines from my sunflower. Sorry, we have visitors in my classroom, so I forget that I'm filming. And I can see it's all Jonah, Jonah. Yeah, I know you forgot. Okay. So wherever the lines don't touch, maybe finish those in. Any details that you see that you might want to fix, go ahead and fix them. And right now we're going to go ahead and color. I'm going to start with coloring the background. Now, you can use these Crayola. I think they work just fine, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the sunflower with some of this orange, red, orange, and yellow here. Red, orange, and yellow. Okay, and normally towards the center is darker. So I like to color very lightly at first, and just in the direction that you want it to look, or you want your pencil marks to go. So color like that, and I like to kind of do the same color all throughout where it needs to be placed before I move on to the secondary color, because we're going to do some blending here. Now, Crayola markers don't have as much wax as some of the more expensive pencils, artist grade pencils, but you can still blend colors with them and get a nice effect with them. So, as you can see, just going through all the petals. We have an overlapping petal right here. It's kind of nice to have some variety. And then I'll finish this one right here and do a little bit on that side. Then I'm going to take my second color, and I'm going to start by overlapping that color into the red and fan out towards the end. Just like that. So I do want this to be kind of a zen or calming experience for you coloring this way. Notice I'm trying to keep the distance that I go on all the petals about the same. It's not going to be the exact same for every petal, but about the same. And I'm going to go back again with the red, and I'm going to show you how we're going to create that blend. Because I didn't go out as far with the red as I wanted to in some areas. There we go. And then I'm going to come back with the red and blend in the center there. Create a depth of color, secondary color in there. Or red-orange, which is a secondary color. And a lot of people, when they color with colored pencils, you see, I'm going to show you you kind of see the scribble marks like this. If you use the side of the pencil and just kind of go lightly, you won't have as much of that going on. Okay? Now I'm going to use that third color, and do the tips of the sunflower. This is like the gaillardia flowers that grow in big patches here in the East Mountains. I think they have them in other countries actually as well. But I love them. They also call them blanket flower, probably because they blanket an area. Really pretty. And then go back in with that orange and blend into the yellow now that you've laid that color down. So as I said, this takes a bit more time than just doing one color and calling it done. And sometimes you can even use your pencil and push out to give you a little bit of detail marking there. When you're like a starburst maybe pattern. Those are a couple of techniques that you can use when you're using pencils. If you have a better quality pencil, at home that you might be able to use, you know, feel free to do that. I'm going to add little circles for the seeds here and get a darker one. That one's not quite dark enough. So creating a texture with the pencil on this level. Then I'm going to go to the background and I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to bring this up so you can see kind of that fade, you know, the variegation in color, and then the texture here that I created. And I'm going to go to the back of the background of the T and start doing that. I want to have it go from light blue up at the top. So I'm going to color in the direction that I want and I'm not pushing hard with my pencil. I'm just laying down a light amount of color all the way down, you know, all the way across the paper. And when I finish coloring this, you guys, I will post the PDF of the finished image so that you can look at it and see how this looks all blended and finished. This is a very light blue that I'm using when I go to the next color blue and add a little bit darker. Blue, and try not to press too hard so you don't get those. When you press hard, you push the pencil into the paper and it actually creates an indent in the paper. And when you do that, it creates a shadow, and so you see the mark stronger than you would have if you had just colored lightly and blended the colors. So those are my tips and tricks. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to message me them, and I will try to answer any questions that you have. Look, and you can see, I wonder if you can see that right here. If you look, you can see where I drew with the pencil and kind of indented the paper, so it's got a white mark right now, and it's really hard to fill that in. It actually just gets more prevalent the more you try to color over it. So have fun creating and coloring your illuminated letter. We're going to have a third step. Please don't color your letter yet. Just color all the background. The third part of this series is going to be using gold. You can use a gold crayon. It won't be as shiny. You can use a gold Sharpie, or you can use gold paint. I have gold watercolor. I also have gold tempera paint here. I haven't decided what gold I'm going to use. I probably will use gold Sharpie to finish it off, and I will show you that in next week's video, and we'll talk a little bit more about illuminated manuscripts, and we'll go into the Quran and how they illuminated one of the first manuscripts of the Quran. Okay? Thanks, you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you later.